Let's get loud.
It's showtime, showtime, showtime. Let's go, Seattle fans. Where you at? How devoted are you? Time to get loud.
All right, welcome to this edition of the Loud and Devoted podcast. Native Seahawk is my name. My traditional name is Aaron Thomas. And I've got a co-host. Oh my God, it's just so great. I'd like to introduce you all to Vega. Do you want to introduce yourself? I think that's probably the best way to go.
Sure. My persona name is Vega Sailor Cosplay. So I'm a cosplayer, also huge Seahawk fan. And as you can see, I've got my Seahawks Daenerys getup on today. So I've got the full wig and my coat here, as you can see, that I made specifically for a Seahawks game.
Well, good. We were at Sluggers. That's where I met Vega. And
your place.
And we were just enjoying ourselves and I was like, we got done maybe 45 minutes of nonstop Seahawks discussion, and I just turned to her and I said, "Do you want to be on a podcast with me? I could use some help." And she lit up like a Seahawks touchdown firework and said, "Yes, I would love to participate." So I'm so thankful that you're here, Vega. And you're the representative up there in Washington. I'm down here in California, and so now I'm just very blessed to have you on and just listening to your knowledge of the game and of the Seahawks and the history, and really just enjoy talking with you. So just really thank you for the time that we had in Seattle.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm kind of excited to do this. I could gush about the Seahawks for like hours. Although I will admit, this particular season, despite all the new crazy stuff, I'm not as up on the game as I usually am, just because with all the distractions, Olympics and election and all that craziness, I'm just like, okay, wait, what are the Seahawks doing? Hold on. So...
Well, I know one of the things, again, as we'll talk about today, is the state of the Seahawks fandom. I will tell you that when I'm so used to going to Seahawks training camps as a season ticket holder for the last 18 years, I've gone back when Jim Mora was our head coach, and it was like dead quiet, and it was like 200 people there, to, of course, the explosion that we saw with Coach Carroll. And that was like a big party atmosphere, to now Coach McDonald, kind of in between Mora and Carroll. What are your thoughts on, we're brand new head coach, brand new sort of regime, new schemes on both sides, a lot of new players. What are your thoughts on us just being a Seahawks fan? Where are we at as Seahawks fans, do you think?
Well, my personal opinion, me as a Seahawks fan, I'm super excited. Like Mike McDonald, Ryan Grubb, I can't, because, I'm also a Husky fan too. And I went to the University of Washington and watched all that stuff. So I was just really excited for Mike McDonald alone. That was, because I just saw, what he did on the Ravens. I think when he really came into my consciousness was when, I think, was it Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? That game there, Ravens 49ers, and Mike McDonald's Ravens defense just bitch slapped the hell out of the 49ers. It was like, I'd never seen that team. So, as a Seahawks fan, I got to watch my rivals to, keep an eye on the enemy. And I'd never seen them look so like scared on offense. Like Brock Purdy actually looked rattled. And I know people kind of say, "Oh, Brock's just not that good." He's actually a good quarterback. I said it, and I'm insanely mad that the 49ers got him. Mr. Irrelevant, of course, turns out to be a quality guy. I'm like, God damn it. But anyway, Mike McDonald's defense made all of them look like average out there, because they'd been this juggernaut, favored and everything. And then, but then that defense just put them in their place. And so that's when, at least for me, Mike McDonald got on the radar, and I think that got on the radar for a lot of Seahawks fans, at least according to Twitter, or X, or it's Twitter. Kind of got on the radar there, I think. And then when all the rumors about, once Pete Carroll was announced as leaving, it was rumors, who are we going to get? Is it going to be Vrabel or Belichick? And then Mike McDonald or Ben Johnson were the two I think I kept seeing circulating on Twitter, on Field Goals, on any other Seahawks fan sites. Those were the two top guys that every Seahawks fan wanted. Turns out Ben Johnson, he stayed with the Lions, and go Lions. I hope they do very well this year. But everybody was just waiting. Okay, who are we gonna get? Is gonna please Mike McDonald? And then when it was announced that Mike McDonald signed, I'd never seen Seahawks fans on any side be so united about like enjoy of getting and landing Mike McDonald. So, and then I remember the hype around, okay, who's going to be our new offensive coordinator? The hype around this one dude leaked onto Twitter. Hey, here's Mike McDonald and John Schneider at this bar with, is that Ryan Grubb? Oh my God, it's Ryan Grubb. And everybody was just, it was just like everything just exploded again, and people were like just really excited. So, and in any fan base, there's always going to be detractors like, oh, we could have done better, we should have gotten this guy. But I've never, in all of like recent Seahawks years, with all the kind of when we were in the doldrums, I've never seen the fandom so excited, especially about the Mike McDonald hire. Has been great. And so, and then in the draft, you put Byron Murphy on that one too. You're like. So super excited, but also tempering expectations, because new coach, new regime, completely new regime. It could be an absolute dumpster fire. Just getting used to everything, but I'm still very excited about what we got going on here. So
and when I did talk to a lot of fans, and I was supposed to get some actual interviews, and I was too much in the moment to pull my phone out to ask fans. I saw them in the airport because I was flying up to Seattle. I was from Vegas. I saw them at the training camp. I saw them in the bars. And I would say the ones that are having a hard time are the real Pete Carroll fans, the ones that felt like that the Seahawks did them dirty. They didn't like the fact that B-Wags is gone. All that sort of like what got Seattle to the promised land. It just feels like, we swept them out the back door and ushered in this kid, this 35, 36-year-old defensive coordinator that maybe, is a flash in the pan. And then you get all these new players that you don't know who they are. I would say, in the two training camps I went to this year, the fandom was like 25% less than what I'm used to seeing. Like literally, I got to the landing in Renton to get on the bus, because you have to stand in line. I used to be the ones that get there at dark 30 and be on the very first bus and get all the autographs I could get. I used to be that, when I used to live up there in Washington. This time around, I got there literally minutes before the line was starting to move, and people were getting their wristbands and getting onto the buses, the big yellow bus to go up to the VMAC. And I swear, it literally took me 20 minutes from the time I got in line to the time I got on the bus. That was crazy. Normally, that line is so far back, and it's going to take me an hour to get onto a bus. And when I get up there, there was places to sit. And usually, that's a hard thing to do when you're on one of the last buses. I was able to sit on the berm. I mean, again, I think that this year it's going to be taking a lot of the fans sort of a year to wait and see. Like you said earlier, this could be a big fire shoot, and it could just go down in flames, or it could just be average. But those of us that really know football, which I know you do, what are your thoughts in terms of like what fans should and could do to sort of better educate themselves about what we really have?
What I would do is I also listen to other Seahawks podcasts and stuff. Just looking at people, when they analyze different players, X's and O's, and how they fit into the scheme and everything like that. I think, a lot of it is kind of up in the air because and I kind of get some of the hesitation because Ryan Grubb's a college coach. Because sometimes college coaches do not translate very well to the NFL. But given the interesting direction the NFL is going with the more pass-heavy offenses, almost more kind of slightly college-style offenses, I think maybe he might actually fit in pretty well. But again, also we have a ton of new players, and that's going to everything's, like I said, this could be a dumpster fire. Everybody just from the fact everybody could be, everybody is still trying to get used to each other, I think. And also, I kind of get it not going to training camp because everything's so new that you don't have the big celebrity names there anymore, except for maybe DK and Tyler Lockett, Gino. But so I kind of get people not want to do it again and again. Right now, there's so many distractions going on. It's Olympics and election year and everything like that. And again, Pete Carroll's not there anymore. It's a whole new regime. And so I'm thinking, a lot of people are kind of wait and see, but I think there is an underlying excitement to see what we've got. Because, the nice thing is before the first game, you can believe anything. But I'll tell you what, that turnout for the Lumen Field game was a pretty good crowd out there. One, because it might be a little bit more accessible, too.
Right.
Than having to go all the way down because I didn't go to the Seahawks training camp, not because I wasn't interested, but it's like, you got to go all the way down to Rennie, you get on a bus, you go to the field, you get to the thing. You're not in a comfortable seat, whereas Lumen Field, heck yeah, light rail, in nice comfy seat, crack open a beer, or actually they serve cocktails now, which is even better. So
yeah, it was nice. It was really nice not having to sit on the berm and being able to sit I had a pretty good seat. And I think, I was right in front of me where D. Eskridge got thrown down by Marquise Blair. At the time, I thought it was D. Williams for some reason, but I thought he was the one that threw D. Eskridge down. But I know he was part of the scuffle. And then, of course, what's happening the last few training camps of the guys fighting. Do you think that the green versus blue fights? Do you think that's a good thing for the team?
Kind of depends. I think these guys are really they're all hyped up. Everybody's running on adrenaline, running on even for and people say running on testosterone, like even female athletes can get into it as well. It's just part of the thing, the competitiveness. You want to win, and then sometimes if some guy says something or you lose, and then you get this, your brain's already hopped up, and so then someone says a particular thing, it's just the snap. Okay, fuck you, Yeah. Sorry, bleep that out. But
you can press on here. It's okay.
I think I think also some people kind of read into it a little too much, like, lack of discipline. But I think also sometimes they get the energy out there. As long as they have a thing where they go and make up later, that's fine. I don't want to say it's a good thing because you don't want everybody freaking out on each other all the time. But, the average scuffle once in a while. I mean, takes me back to 2013 when Michael Bennett got into fights, and then he'd go out on the field and annihilate people. So, hopefully we can just kind of turn that energy to, hopefully it's like because even someone in a family, brothers will brawl once in a while, but then the dad's going to come in like, hey, knock it off, don't pull each other's hair, which is good. Coach came in. I think Mike McDonald came in and he got the whole team together and was like, hey, we need to be serious. So I won't say scuffles are necessarily a good thing, but I don't see this as like a bad thing because, again, people are expelling energy, and as long as it's, it's handled healthily, no one's hurt, it's fine. And also, I think Terry Bowen came up, actually, I just saw a interview with JSN lately that even said, like, it's all family. It happens. He saw it in college too. It happens, unfortunately.
And the way I look at all of this too is that I know that from the very, very first interview that Coach had, I always call him Mike Mack, Coach Mike Mack had with his team, and the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator have with each player. It's almost like an interview. It's almost like, okay, why should we keep you? Why, here it is, March or February, when I think it was March when they had their very first mini camps. And that's where the coaching staff really gets to talk to each player. And if you think about it, like in the draft, they're trying to get to know each player. They're trying to understand, do they have the eye of the tiger? Do they have that sharp edge to them? Are they somebody we want to keep around? Because you got to remember, even DK Metcalf is showcasing his skills because he wants to stay and get that extension. D. Eskridge wants to stay. He doesn't want to get traded or get let go. And so tempers are going to flare. Number one, it's hot as hell out there. I mean, those of us that were sitting, even in Renton, you're melting, literally. And
heat can really make you boil over when you normally wouldn't. It makes you extra irritable. So, like, the tiniest little thing is going to make it go, like, why the fuck?
Right.
You know,
you're wearing a bunch of makeup and heavy outfits. You know how that in terms of. And I know that
stop standing in front of me. Just little things like that will make you go like when you're hot and tired, or you're hot and you're already hopped up in your competitiveness. You're just gonna snap. And like 2 seconds later, after you calm down, like, oh my god, why did I do that? So scuffles are gonna happen, and it's kind of part of the territory as long as it's reined in.
Yeah. Have you played sports?
Not really. I'm more of a watcher of sports. Not since when I was in grade school, I did soccer. So I've been more of a watcher.
Yeah, I didn't have too much sports in my background either, which probably tunes out a lot of people. Like, why doesn't know sports? But I've been watching it, like you. But I play with res ball. Those of us that are Native American live on the reservation. You're literally. I used to be the smallest guy on the court, but I had the biggest chip on my shoulder, and so any little thing that would go on in the court, especially in basketball, I'd get elbowed or somebody run into me and I'd call foul and they say it's not a foul. You're literally amped up. You're literally upset about that, and because you're so competitive, like you said, the edge is there. And so I think that for me, I like the fact that they're fighting. I like the fact that to me it makes me feel like they do care about wanting to be here, like they're fighting to stay on this roster, because that we don't know what Mike McDonald's is going to do and John Schneider's going to do with that roster, which brings us to the next thought that I had here. Seahawks, they are churning the roster, and the last couple of days we've saw Connor Williams, the new center, is coming in. There's been like 2 or 3 defensive linemen, especially defensive tackles, that they're bringing in and letting go some of the guys that have been on the roster for the last few months. What does this mean to you, this churning of the roster? Like, what does this feel like as a fan?
Well, I think it's a good thing. I think a good when you bring in a new regime, it's the perfect time to clean house. Like maybe old contracts or people that were on there for sentimental value, that stuff like that. And I think in some way, I mean, I know churning can be a little worrisome that they're not finding the right guy, but maybe it is good because you want to find the guy for your system. Remember, but when you do go in and clean house, then you have to kind of start from scratch. And so I think Mike McDonald's trying to find what he wants to build on. I'm really excited about Connor Williams. I know he has an injury history, but even if it's a 1-year deal, so, both sides can let go after a while, but I'm excited to have this pro center, especially since that's been a little bit of a weak point because John Schneider made a gaffe in not drafting Creed Humphrey, and I'll never let that go.
We could have had Creed Humphrey. Oh God, that's the one really bad draft thing where I'm like, what are you doing? Like some of the other bad drafts picks, I can be like, well, with Malcolm McDowell, how do you know the guy's going to go on his ATV and do some dumb shit? You could say, oh, there's red flags. Well, there's red flags with a lot of young guys and it doesn't turn out to anything. But just that one, Eskridge over Creed Humphrey, just why? Yeah. Why? Yeah. Even I, as just this person from my couch, could tell you, get the center. Right. And I think I was listening to my good friend, Jackson Bevins. I don't know if you know who he is.
It's the guy who does the cigar talk. Yeah, him. Smoke. I love Smoke Rings. I love his stuff on Field.
I've known Jackson for like 10 years or so. Anyway, he was talking about it's been like, I don't know, since, who was Max Unger was the last center Seattle drafted.
Top guy.
I think he said that we drafted him, but it's been that long since we've had a consistent center.
A really good consistent one.
So it's good. It's going to be good to see Connor Williams out there. And some people are like, I wish it was a multi-year deal, but I'm glad it's a 1-year deal. We can kind of see where he
kind
is.
of feel each other out, and also kind of see is he going to be good in our system with Ryan Grubb and Huff and all that, and also for him too. It's like, this is the new regime. Is he going to like it here? Because I think I know people like to say otherwise, but I think Pete Carroll and the Seahawks organization was a draw. You hear players talk about it favorably, apart from certain other players. I won't get into here because then I'll go on and rant.
I think turning the roster is a good thing. I think you find somebody that's just a little bit better in some part of his game that is better than what you have. You're going to go for it. And I think you said at the beginning of the show, we don't know what we have with Mike Macdonald. Mike Macdonald doesn't know what he's got. And I think we're all going to be able to give Coach Mike Mack a year leeway to figure this out because, I think, again, it was another show I was listening to on the NFL Network on Sirius Radio. They were talking about the Seahawks and the fact that it's probably going to take majority of this season for that defense to figure it out because the communication gaps are there. Mike Mack didn't like the fact they're not communicating like they should be. Because they all have different positions, but they also have different roles. It's not just an A role; they have an A, a B, and a C role on the team. And so once they'll show a certain look on defense right before the snap, and then right before the snap, they'll yell out a word, and then that word will let them all know which role they're going to be playing during that one play. That's what made that defense in Baltimore so successful. Is that the quarterback. Why Purdy had such an average game against them was because he didn't understand what they were doing. And that's exactly what Mike Mack is bringing to Seattle is that. And so, but if you're not communicating, you're not out there understanding what your roles are, you're going to get mixed up. You're going to run into your own player. It's going to be like cosplay, but you've got two characters on the same stage trying to do the same lines. And that's not good. The audience are like, what the heck is going on here? So you want to be able to make communication.
Yeah, as you're saying, I think for a new regime, it is good. Roster churning is good when you have a whole new regime in there because, everybody's trying to find what they want and also find the guy that has this thing that they're looking for. So I think that's good. I think also got to give Mike Macdonald at least 2 or 3 years, a couple of drafts so he can get his guys. I mean, we've got this one and then maybe another one, see where it's going, see if there's any improvements. What I look for is to see, this might be a dumpster fire, but if I see an improvement into the second year, okay, that's fine. I think another problem with Pete Carroll is this: you'd see these gaping problems year after year after year, and they just wouldn't get fixed. And problems with the defense and stuff. I was like, what are you doing? You have the talent. And that was my problem with Pete Carroll in the end. I love Pete Carroll. He's great. I love his whole personality. He brought so much to Seattle, the Super Bowl, and everything. And just for years of being just such a great organization for players, handling through the whole COVID thing, making sure player safety was paramount. But on the stuff on the field, again, we kept seeing these problems and then we just never, for years, and they would just never get corrected. And I don't like that when that happens. So got to give Mike Mack his chance. Again, I'm super excited, but I'm also, you gotta hedge your expectations because it is a whole new, it's not just a new head coach. It's a whole new ball game. I mean, actually, we're lucky to have a quarterback to actually be our, like Gino, to be our anchor, to keep the team steady. That's why I want to give them all a chance because it might take a year, 2, or maybe 3 to kind of really everything to gel and everybody get the guys they need. So as long as I'm seeing improvement, I'm happy. How about that?
We got 3 years to really give them, but I openly don't think that this roster, because the quarterback that we have has up to 3 years. I hate to say it. Without Gino in there, and that's why I'm so happy we got Connor Williams because that was one of the big glaring holes. I love Olu, and I kind of like what we're seeing in Nick Harris.
But they're still young. They're still newbies.
and to have
yeah,
Connor Williams get in there and be a staunch starter, and it had an 85 PFF grade, which is solid, top 5 grade in the NFL last year. And the only reason why he got let go of Miami was because he got injured, and that was also a cap casualty. So coming to Seattle, up to $6 million, which is it's not the greatest contract for Seattle. We didn't have that much money, but
still better than Luke Tuchel, but you know.
you need somebody to block Geno. That's the one place that I'm really concerned about this year. If Geno goes down, oh my God! Like I think it
We
was
don't have Drew Luck anymore.
Yeah, John Boyle said it best this week. He said if there's a Grand Canyon gap between Geno Smith and Sam Howell that we're seeing right now.
I think the dark horse that we have back there, though, is PJ Walker, because he's our third string. He actually, when he was standing in for the coming in for Deshaun Watson, he didn't play. He was pretty good. It could definitely hold. But yeah, if Geno goes down, it's going to be like, oh, that's that.
For some reason, it's the accuracy that I saw with Sam Howell and with PJ Brown.
Yeah,
their accuracy
PJ
was
Walker.
Horrible. It was inconsistent at best in the training camp I saw in Renton, and then the next day at Lumen. Both of them were inconsistently throwing the ball and like not just sort of missing their guys, but like way outside the catch radius. And that to me is where Geno thrives. I mean, his catch radius is in that 85 percentile or better. And that to me is what scares me going forward. If he goes down, pulls a hammy, or does something with his toe, or some weird, it's going to be run, pass, run, pass, and it's going to be very predictable. And you're going to need that defense then to be a top 5 defense just to keep us in the game. And,
yeah, like I said, this could be a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
The dumpster
We'll
fire.
See what happens.
I think I posted while I was up in Seattle that if we don't start seeing, and I'm going to put this next. We've got Seattle travels to SoFi in Los Angeles or Inglewood to play the Chargers on Saturday, and so if we don't see significant improvement from Sam Howell, at least in the next preseason games, I could see John Schneider going out there and literally turning a second-round pick for next year for, I hate to say it, a possible Russell Wilson reunited. I could see.
I wouldn't mind it. For a cheap contract, I wouldn't mind it.
It costs us a second-round pick
He's
to get
still
up,
a good quarterback,
and he becomes the backup to Geno, and therein lies the rub. But getting somebody that's got like way better accuracy that can that has led teams before. In case Geno goes down, that'll almost lock up, I think, at least a playoff spot and maybe a win or two in the playoffs if you have that. I normally don't give a rip about the second string quarterback. I don't. I mean, when Geno was our second string guy and we had Russell, nobody really talks about the backup. Right. However, because this is that's the part of the roster that I'm really concerned about going forward, just because of Geno's age mostly. That's where I'm thinking, crap, we got to do something. What are your thoughts on Seattle traveling to the Chargers and for the first preseason game?
I am super excited to finally see our guys. Football is back for the first game, just to see, because also it's very different seeing the guys actually in a game against another team. And even if it's preseason, you're still allowed to hit people. It's not like in training camp where you kind of got to be careful because it's your guys, but this time you can get in and hit people now. And so we're super excited. I can't wait to see everybody on the field where they can play for real now. They can like, especially on the defense, they can tackle, they can do stuff. I can't wait. It's going to be interesting seeing Hardball on the sideline again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I did kind of miss him after he left San Francisco because he was the perfect Lex Luthor to Pete Carroll's Seahawks Superman, and just his antics on the sideline. Like, he was such a great villain to hate. Like, it's sportsman hate. It's super villain hate, not like hate a person themselves. But so it's going to be interesting seeing him back again, see what he does. And I was going to gush about Herbert, but unfortunately he's injured now. And I'm like, no, I like him. Because I was going to say, Harbaugh was going to be great to help Herbert, along, but unfortunately,
Justin Herbert, yeah.
Justin Herbert's injured. I'm like, no.
Oh yeah, and I don't expect any of our starters to start this game. Although Donald was talking about the possibility of having them play a few snaps, but I think they'll
get them revved up,
Yeah, they'll get the warm ups. They'll be out there with their jerseys on and their pads, but see very much of the starters. That's why I'm 2 hours away from SoFi where I live in Palm Springs, so I thought about driving over there, but I'm going for what? Just to watch the second and third stringers play. And I'm usually, again, that's part of the start, the fandom thing I was talking about earlier. Like, even as a season ticket holder, I'm not that excited about seeing the backups, and I normally am. Normally, I want to kind of go and kind of keep my eye on a few guys, and even with this podcast, I should go just so I could see it in person. But I'll probably end up watching it here at my house. But I'm also excited, though, regardless of how I watch the game, just looking at the new scheme. And you're not going to be able to see much. It's going to be very, very vanilla on offense and defense. But I think we're going to be able to see some differences. And here's what I'll say for the rest of the season. And I think I said this to you at Sluggers that afternoon. The way I see the Seahawks this season is a lot like what we're seeing with the Mariners. Like, we didn't expect a lot out of them this year. Yeah, they went to the playoffs the year before, but it's like they're fun to watch. They're young, they're hip, they've got some stars on there. They never give up. They're playing extremely hard, and I think that's the way it's going to be this season. I think there's a few predictions I've already heard from, like John Boyle and other Seahawks beat writers that thought that I think the worst I heard was 9 wins this year. The best I heard was 10 wins. I'm kind of in that 10-win part of the season, 10-7, which you go, crap, that's still 7 losses, but it's a really difficult schedule this year. And we'll talk about.
Look at the division we're in. Look at what we have to deal with 4 times a year. Rams and 49ers. We have 2 Super Bowl contenders in our division. I think a lot of people kind of miss that with Pete Carroll era. It's like, how many the NFC West has been in the Super Bowl multiple times. Like, I don't think Belichick and Brady would have 7 rings if they had multiple Super Bowl contenders in their same division to deal with 4 times a year. And even the Cardinals. The Cardinals are, they're the basement of our division, but they're sometimes better than the top people in other divisions. And sorry, I'm gonna rant about that a little bit because I think people just underestimate our division. Yeah, the Rams aren't very good now, but remember they were Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl 2 years in a row, and they're constantly at our heels. And I'm just like, people underestimate that. How the strength of your own personal division and how much you get beat up by your fellow division players if they're really good. So,
Well, yeah, and I'll even say that every team in the NFL got better, and I think that I'm thankful though that Seattle made the decision. I hate to say it, I love Pete Carroll, but it was good that we got an updated head coach.
I totally agree. Yeah, it was time. It was time to definitely switch. Because like I said before, we kept seeing those same problems over and over again, and we're never corrected. And it's like, Pete, come on, man. You got to do – yeah, it was time. It was time. No, I'm ecstatic. I love Pete, but I am ecstatic where we got a whole new regime.
Yeah. So real quickly, if the Seahawks were a character on House of Dragons, you watch House of Dragons, right?
Yeah, House of the Dragon.
What character would you say – the Seahawks would currently emulate?
Well, less House of Dragons, but more Game of Thrones. They are definitely House Targaryen. If you had the houses from Game of Thrones, because they're a bit chaotic and powerful, but chaotic, and may lose horribly and burn shit down right now. So, I mean, if Mike McDonald does turn our defense into what we saw in the Ravens, then it is going to be Daenerys coming down on Drogon and just burning the shit down. So, definitely House, but they can also lose bigly. So, yeah, definitely, Seahawks are definitely House Targaryen. And I know I'm dressed in my Daenerys costume, but I know back in like 2013, Seahawks were Toss Targaryen. The Patriots were House Lannister. I don't know. I think House Stark was. I can't remember where I decided that time. Yeah, but I guess with House of Dragons, I'd say Seahawks were definitely right near us. So,
what would the 49ers be?
Oh, they're definitely Team Green. I think for Game of Thrones, they would definitely House Baratheon for sure. The ones that usurped the throne with a big giant hammer and just bashed everything around. Yeah.
I think they would be, the Niners would be the Skinwalker, not the Skinwalkers, but
the White Walkers.
The White Walkers.
They're definitely House Baratheon, I think. Okay. No.
All right, Vega. Well, thank you for our very first co-hosting of this new and improved, loud and devoted podcast. And just for the viewers' sake, again, even though this is a very Seahawks-centered podcast, it is still the loud and devoted. We're still very loud and devoted to Mariner fans, and hopefully one day Sonics fans. So I'm not going to always say that this podcast will be reserved just for the Seahawks. It is targeting the Seahawks fans, but you might see us talk a little bit more about the Mariners, especially as they start dwindling down the season towards the playoff run. And did they do enough, to get their roster set for the playoffs? They're, not doing so hot against the Tigers. They need to win tonight on Thursday.
I don't know as much about baseball. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's okay. But. Again, we'll have different special guests throughout the weeks leading up to the games. And any last remaining thoughts for you, Vega?
I know I'm sorry I kind of rambled a bit, like off on tangents, because that's how I talk. But I'm super excited for the Seahawks. If the preseason games were here, I'd go to them just because, even though that's the second string and third string, I want to see what Ryan Grubb and Mike McDonald have got. Because remember, they're going up against second string and third string on the other team, so it's about equalized. And I want to see what the new stuff is. I want to see the new guys. I want to see, even if they have first string in just for a few snaps, I just kind of want to see what they do. I'm excited. So just for the whole new thing. And I'd be happy to come on again for more Seahawks talk. So
you're the co-host now, so we can just we'll get it going and say hello to your father for me, and
we'll do.
Yeah, have a great rest of your.
I'll send him the video. I think him and Mama will enjoy that, because Mom's a huge Seahawks fan too, but she's more of the I'm going to sit on my couch and watch the Seahawks from the comfort of my house and not be in the heat.
Yeah. So, is there any Twitter or X handle you want to share with everybody?
My big thing is Instagram. That's where all my cosplay stuff is. Vega Sailor cosplay. It's the same there. But my Twitter handle is also Vega Sailor. But it also, my actual hashtag, the little at symbol. God, I'm such a boomer. The little at symbol. It's reverse Sailor Vega.
Okay.
That was So Sailor _Vega. Yeah.
We'll put your link in the descriptor of this when we push it out on.
Yeah. Definitely the Instagram one, because I frequent there a bit more. The Twitter, I kind of more just scroll looking for football stuff, and right now all the election craziness. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Have a rest of your weekend. Go Hawks. And
Go Hawks!
We'll see all of you guys in the next edition of The Loud and Devoted. My name is Native Seahawk with my new co-host,
Vega Cosplay.
Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. I'll try to get better mic stuff next time. See you soon. Bye.